Good day, everyone. Welcome to Chapter 2 Competitiveness, Strategy, and Productivity, which will be discussed by us, Group 2. So, these three topics are vitally important to every business organization. But what does it have to do with us students? Well, we're not just students. We are business administration students, and we are expected in the near future to either join the workforce of a company or to start our own business. Ika nga dito sa book reference, the name of the game is competition. The playing field is global. As a player in this business game, wouldn't you want to stay in the competition? To be on top of the competition? Well, if your answer is yes, then the more reason for you to stick with us till the end of this discussion. For starters, here is the presentation outline for today. We actually have three major topics as mentioned. First, competitiveness, and there are its subtopics below. Second, mission and strategy. Third, productivity. Okay, let's go for competitiveness. Competitiveness is defined as how effectively an organization meets the wants and needs of customers relative to others that offer similar goods or services. Diba, we have already acknowledged that there is an existing competition in the business world out there. For example, you put up a beauty parlor. Reality check, you're not the only one with this kind of business. Minsan nga, sa harapan mo, beauty parlor. Sa tabi mo, beauty parlor din. Marami kayo and you offer the same kind of services. But when we say competitiveness or your beauty parlor is competitive, even if there are lots of choices out there, customers would choose to come back to your beauty parlor because they are more satisfied with your services. That's competitiveness. And there are actually several ways that business organizations compete, either through marketing ways or operations ways. So business organizations compete through marketing ways by the following. Number 1, identifying consumer wants and or needs. The idea here is to achieve a perfect match between those wants and needs and the organization's goods and services. Next one is the price and quality. These are key factors in consumer buying decisions. It is important to understand the trade-off decision consumers make between price and quality. Kasi nga, di ba, may customers talaga na ang mindset, pag mahal ang presyo, high quality. There are also customers who would prefer low quality over branded high quality items and vice versa. So setting prices over your products or services is part of the competition. Then we also have advertising and promotion. These are ways organizations can inform potential customers about features of their products or services and attract buyers. Iba-iba rin ang mga strategy ng mga business company when it comes to advertising, when it comes to grabbing the attention of the viewers. For example, the ads of RC Cola and Coke. Sa RC, yung advertisement nila, di ba parang joke, parody, basta something comedy, whereas sa Coke on a serious level, like associating in family or women empowerment. Regardless of their ways, nakakagrab naman ang attention ang dalawang ads, even if they employ in different ways. Okay, so moving forward to competing through operations ways. First, we have product and service design. This is actually a teamwork, a reflection of joint efforts of many areas of the firm to achieve a match between financial resources, operations capabilities, supply chain capabilities, and consumer wants and needs. Next, we have cost of an organization's output. This is a key variable that affects pricing decisions and profits. For example, in the making of your products, you will outsource a portion of its process to achieve lower overall production cost. So even if same lang kayo ng product price with your competitor, but since you've incurred lesser expenses, you'll gain more profit. Next, location. It can be important in terms of cost and convenience for customers. Location near inputs can result in lower input cost. Location near market can result in lower transportation cost and quicker delivery times. Next is quality. This refers to materials, workmanship, design, and service. Customers judge quality in terms of how well they think a product or service will satisfy its intended purpose. Customers are generally willing to pay more for a product if they perceive the product has a higher quality than that of your competitor. Fifth, Quick response can also be a way of gaining competitive advantage. For example, your company is being quick in bringing new, improved products to the market. Another is being able to quickly deliver existing products to a customer after they have ordered. Like sa Shopee delivery, sino ba ang mas mabilis mag-deliver para sa inyo, G&T or Ninjavan? Sixth, flexibility. This is the ability to respond to changes. Of course, in reality, everything is subject to change in time. Changes might relate to alterations in design, features of a product, or to the volume demanded by customers. Seventh, inventory management can also be a competitive advantage by effectively matching supplies of goods with demands. Kasi diba, if marami kang excess supplies palagi, dagdag storage expenses rin yan. Pero if short ka naman palagi sa supplies, possible you will not be able to satisfy the needs of your customers because of the insufficient supplies. So the customer demands and your supplies must be effectively matched. Next is the supply chain management. This involves coordinating internal and external operations to achieve timely and cost-effective delivery of goods throughout the system. Then we also have service. Service quality might involve a delivery, setup, warranty work, and technical support, or it might involve extra attention while work is in progress, such as courtesy, keeping the customer informed, and attention to details. Number 10, managers and workers. They are the heart and the soul of an organization, and if they are competent and motivated, they can provide a distinct competitive edge by their skills and ideas they create. Since we've already learned the several ways how business organizations compete, let us now delve into the reasons why some organizations fail. Saan ba sila nagkulang? First reason is neglecting operations strategy. Second reason is failing to take advantage of strengths and opportunities and are failing to recognize competitive threats. The said failure could happen when one fails to properly execute the environmental scanning. Third reason is putting too much emphasis on short-term financial performance at the expense of research and development. Fourth reason is placing too much emphasis on product and service design, and there is not enough efforts on process design and improvement. Fifth is neglecting investments in capital and human resources. It's like there is little to none training, seminars, or team buildings na offer, which consequently resulted to stagnant employee capabilities. Sixth is failing to establish good internal communications and cooperation among different functional areas. It's because without good communication, conflicts would arise. Conflicts, when destructive and out of hand, will lead to more expenses and errors. Seventh reason is failing to consider customer wants and needs, which is a very crucial and big failure, right? Because the main purpose of putting up a business is to satisfy the customer wants and needs, and yet you have already failed on this most important aspect. So as what you've observed, the reasons for organization's failure is somehow because of being too much or being inadequate and less than. So sa business pala, dapat may tamang timpla sa lahat ng aspeto, no? We must learn to practice impartiality and proper management. So, moving forward, there are two basic issues needed to be addressed when competing. First, what do the customers want? Which items on the preceding list of the ways business organizations compete are important to customers? Second, what is the best way to satisfy those customers? And also take note that answering and understanding these competitive issues can help managers develop successful strategies. Okay, so we are now down to our second major topic, mission, goals, strategy, and tactics. But before we define each of these terms one by one, let us first make a connection of these terms in an illustration. So the organization mission is the starting point, which will then serve as the basis for organizational goals. That's why there is an arrow pointing towards the goals. And in order to achieve these goals, there must be strategies. And in order to accomplish these strategies, there must be tactics. As what we have observed, there is a process going on, right? And thus we could say that these terms are somewhat relevant with each other.
Mission. Reason for the existence of an organization. So it expresses the organization's mission statements. So it also vary from organization depending on the nature of their business. Mission statements states the purpose of an organization and it serves as the basis for organizational goals. It explains the purpose of the company. So these are the examples of mission statements. First is to help people and businesses throughout the world to realize their full potential. It is by Microsoft. And then second is to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one cup and one neighborhood at a time. Starbucks. Next is goals. It provides detail and scope of the mission. So it is a predetermined target that a company plans to achieve in a set period of time. Then strategies, plans for achieving organizational goals can be the main reason for the success or failure of an organization. So it is the plans for achieving the set goals of a company. So these are the basic business strategies. First is the low cost. So from the term low cost, the company will sell lower price of a much lower price of their product compared to its competitors. And then second is the responsiveness, ability to respond to changing demands. Then number three last is the differentiation from competitors. So it relates to the product or service features, its quality, the reputation or customer service. Next are the other strategies used. First is the scale-based strategies. So use capital-intensive methods to achieve high output volume and low unit cost. Then second is visualization. It focuses on narrow product lines or limited service to achieve higher quality. Then newness, focus on innovation, so it focuses in creating new products or new services. Then number four, flexible operations, so it focuses on quick response or customization. Number five is high quality, so it also focuses on achieving higher quality, so higher quality than its competitors. It's much better than the competitors. Number six, service. It focuses on various aspects of service, so like being reliable, being helpful, being courteous. And then lastly is sustainability. So focus on environmental friendly and energy efficient operations. Next is tactics. So methods and actions taken to accomplish strategies. So it provides guidance and directions for carrying out an actual operation. So it's more specific than strategies. Next is the hierarchical planning and decision making. So we started from mission, then followed by the organizational goals, then organizational strategies, then function goals, and it's divided into three categories, which are the finance strategies, the marketing strategies, and the operation strategies, of course, because it will contain different strategies based on its categories, and then followed by the tactics and then operating procedures. This is an example. So Rita is a high school student in Southern California. She would like to have a career in business, have a good job, and earn enough income to live comfortably. So its mission is to live a good life. Then her goal is, of course, successful career, and good income. Then her strategy is obtain a college education. Her tactics is select a college and a major, decide how to finance college. Then her operations is to register, buy books, take courses, and of course, study. Then strategy formulation takes into account the way organizations compete and assessment of its own strengths and weaknesses in order to take advantage of its core competencies. Then it is critical to the success of its strategy. Then core competencies, special attributes or abilities that give an organization a competitive edge. So it is the resources and capabilities that comprise the strategic advantage of a business. Then to formulate an effective strategy, senior managers must take into account the core competencies of the organizations, both the order qualifiers and the order winners, and they must scan the environment. So order qualifiers versus order winners. Order qualifiers characteristics that customers perceives as minimum standards of acceptability to be considered as a potential for purchase, and then order winners is characteristic of an organizational goods or services that cause it to be perceived as better than the competition. So order qualifiers is the minimum standards of the customers, and then the order winners is it better than my competitors? And then environmental scanning, monitoring of events and trends that present either threats or opportunities for the organization. There are two environmental scanning, SWOT approach and Michael Porter's 5 forces model. SWOT approach. So what is SWOT first? It stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So strength and weaknesses have an internal focus, which are typically evaluated by operations people. So it's internal. And then threats and opportunities have an external focus, which are typically evaluated by marketing people. It is evaluated by mostly marketing people.
Porter's 5 forces model, and it is an alternative SWOT analysis that takes into account first, threat of new competition, threat of substitute products and services, bargaining power of customer, bargaining power of supplier, and lastly, intensity of competition. So when we say threat of competition, it refers to a lot of competitors with the same size and power. So like for example, I have a multi-shop. And then after 3 months, there's a new multi-shop that has established in front of me. So that multi-shop, I can consider it as my new competitor. Next is threat of substitute product and services. So substitute product and services provides the consumer to switch to an alternative, especially based on price and product. So like for example, the multi-shop in front of me has or provide a good quality of product and services, so it has a possibility that these customers that I have before might transfer to that newly established multi-shop. Next is bargaining power of customer. Customer has the right or the power to demand lower price. So when a customer becomes dissatisfied with the quality of services or pricing in a certain multi-shop, example, multi-shop, that new multi-shop, then they still avail your product if your product and services has a lower price and a good quality. So it is your strategy to lower your price and of course to improve or to offer a product that beyond their expectation. For gaining power of supplier. Supplier provides the inputs and raw materials of or for the business. So it has a greatest impact to your company's profit margin. Lastly, intensity of competition. By the time that the competition getting intense or competition races, it is your time to improve your product and services and of course to go beyond the expectation of the consumers so that they have the opportunity to transfer or to switch into your products and services that you offered. Next is Environmental scanning. It monitors the events and trends, either threats or opportunities that is present in the organization, and it has a external and internal factors. So under the external factor, we have here economic conditions, political condition, legal environment, technological changes, competition, and markets. And under the internal factors, we have here human resources, facilities and equipment, financial resources, customers, products and services, technology use, suppliers, and other factors. So under the external factor, we have here economic condition. So it is the general health and direction of the economy. Next is political condition. It is a favorable and unfavorable attitude towards business, the political stability and instability. Next is the legal environment. It is the antitrust laws, government regulations, trade restrictions, minimum wage laws, product liability laws. So next is technological changes. The rate at which product innovations are occurring, current and future process technologies such as equipment, materials, handling, and design technology. Next is competition. The number of strength and competitors, the basis of competition such as price, quality, special features, and the ease of market entry. And lastly, markets. It refers to the size, location, brand loyalties, ease of entry, potential for growth, long-term stability, and demographic. So under the internal factors, we have here human resources. So it is the skills and abilities of managers and workers, the special talents such as creativity, designing, problem solving, the loyalty to the organization, the expertise, the dedication, and the experience are being applied. And next is the facilities and equipment. It refers to the capacities, the location, the age, the cost, and to maintain or replace that can have a significant impact on operation. So next is financial resources. Of course, it refers to cash flow, it refers to access to additional fundings, existing debt burden, and cost of capital are important consideration. Next is customers. The loyalty, the existing relationship, and understanding of wants and needs are important, of course. Next is product and services. It refers to the existing products and services and the potential for new products and services. Next, technology used. It is the ability to integrate new technology and the probable impact of technology on current and future operations. Next is supplies, supply relationship, dependability of suppliers, quality, flexibility, and services as typical consideration. Next is other factors, the patents, labor selections, company or product image, the distribution channels, and relationships with distributors. So that is the under the internal factors. And now we will move on to supply chain strategy. It establishes how the organization should work with supplier and policies relating to the customer relationship and sustainability. So supply chain strategy is the relationship. It refers to the relationship between organization, supplier, and the customer. Next is sustainability strategy. So it requires elevating sustainability to the level of organization governments for the achievement of sustainability goals. So it is where it is to achieve the sustainability goal of an organization. So next is the global strategy, a strategic decision with respect to the globalization. So an organization, of course, should consider their decision on how it would affect to the globalization. Next is operation strategy, is an approach consistent with the organization strategy that is used to guide the operations function. So, an operation strategy is a strategy of an organization or operation that use that to guide the function of an operation, such as processes, methods, operating resources, scheduling, and others. Note, in order for operation strategy to be truly effective, it is important to link into organization strategy. So we have here organization strategy and operation strategy. So in organization strategy, they have low price, operation strategy, low cost, responsiveness, short processing time, and on-time delivery. Then differentiation, high quality, high performance design, and or high quality processing, consistent quality, newness, innovation, variety, flexibility, and volume, service, superior customer service, location, convenience. So note, in order for operation strategy to be truly effective, it is important to link into the organization strategy. Next, strategic operation management decision areas. So we have here decision area and what the decision affect. So under the decision area, we have here product and design, capacity, process selection and layout, work design, location, quality, inventory, maintenance, scheduling, supply chain, and lastly, project. So product and design and what the decision affect. It is cost, quality, liability, and environmental. In capacity, cost structure, flexibility, process selection and layout. The decision effect is cost, flexibility, skill level, and capacity, and so on. So next is factors of universal strategic operations. So we have here quality-based versus time-based. Quality-based strategy is focuses on maintaining or improving the quality of an organization's products or services. Then it is equality is generally a factor in both attracting and retaining customer. So next is time-based strategy. It focuses on reduction of time needed to accomplish task, and the less time, the less cost.
Time reduction can be achieved in planning time, product service design time, processing time, changeover time, delivery time, and response time for complaints. So, planning time, a time to react to a competitive threat, to develop strategies and tactics. Product service design time, a time needed to develop and market new design products and services. Processing time, a time needed to produce goods or provide services. It involves scheduling and inventories. Change over time, a time needed to change from producing one type of products or service to another. A delivery time, time needed to fill orders. Response time, for complaints, it might be about the quality, timing of deliveries, and incorrect shipment.
And now we will move on to the implications of organization strategy for operation management. Organization strategy has a major impact on operations and supply chain management strategies. For example, organizations that use a low-cost, high-volume strategy limit the amount of variety offered to a customer. So we have here organization strategy and the implications for operation management. So first, low price. It requires low variation in products, services, and a high volume, steady flow of goods result to maximum use of resources through the system. So standardized work, material, and inventory requirements. Next is high quality. It entails higher initial cost for product and services design and process design, and more emphasis on assuring supplier quality. Next is quick response. Requires flexibility, extra capacity, and higher levels of some inventory items. Newness or innovation. It entails large investments in research and development for new or improved products and services, plus the need to adapt operations and supply processes to suit new products or services. Next is product or service variety. It requires a high variation in resources and more emphasis on what product and service design, higher worker skills needed, cost and estimation more difficult, scheduling more complex, quality assurance more involved, and inventory management more complex, and matching supply to demand more difficult. And then lastly, sustainability. It affects location planning, product and service design, process design, outsourcing decision, returns, policies, and waste management. So that is the organization strategy that has an implications for operation management. And next is the balance scorecard. A balanced scorecard is a top-down management system that organization can use to clarify their vision and strategy and transform them into action. It is introduced in the early 1990s by Robert Kaplan and David Norton. It is to move away from a purely financial perspective of the organization and integrate other perspectives such as customers, internal business processes, and learning growth.
So this figure, it shows how the balance scorecard works. So we have here financial performance, efficiency of internal business processes, organizational knowledge and innovation, and under that we have here strategy objectives, strategy initiatives, performance measures and targets, and then we have here customer stakeholders, and at the center is the vision and strategy of the organization.
Productivity. Productivity is the measure of the effective use of resources. So, when we say productivity, dito natin makikita kung gaano natin ka-epektibo na nagamit ang ating mga resources. Productivity is usually expressed as ratio of output to input. The formula in solving productivity is productivity equals to output over input. The higher productivity, the lower cost of the output. Productivity growth. Productivity growth is the increase in productivity from one period to the another next relative to productivity in the preceding period. So the formula in solving productivity growth is productivity growth equals current productivity less previous productivity over previous productivity times 100. In computing productivity, we have the basis of productivity measures. First one is the single input or the partial productivity. Second is the more than one input or multi-factor productivity. And the last one is all inputs or total productivity. So, Partial measures are the often greatest use in operation management. Note, the choice of productivity measures depend primarily on the purpose of measurement. If the purpose is to track the improvement in labor productivity, then labor becomes the obvious input measures. So the partial measures formula is the output over labor, another one is the output over capital, and the output over machine, or last one is the output over energy. Let's proceed to the calculations of multi-factor productivity. Multi-factor productivity measures input and output using a common unit of measurement, such as cost. So the formula of multi-factor measures is multi-factor productivity equals to quantity of production over labor cost plus material cost plus overhead. Another measures of productivity is the total measures formula, which is goods or services produced over all units or inputs used to produce them. Productivity in service sector. Service productivity is more problematic than manufacturing productivity, more difficult to measure and thus to manage because it involves intellectual activities and high degree of variability. Process yield. The ratio of output of good product. Example given, defective product is not included to the quantity of the raw materials input. Process yield is equals to output of good product over quantity of raw materials input. Note, process yield measures is often dependent on the particular process. Importance of measuring productivity. The importance of measuring the productivity is to track performance over time, allows managers to judge performance and to decide where improvements are needed, can be used to judge the performance of an entire industry or productivity of a country as a whole, or aggregate measures, serves as scorecards of the effective use of resources, and key economic indicators or barometers. Note, business leaders are concerned with productivity as it relates to competitiveness. Factors that affect productivity. We have the method, capital, quality, technology, and management. Other factors that affect productivity. Standardizing process and procedures. Wherever possible to reduce variability can have a significant benefit for both productivity and quality. Quality differences may distort productivity measurements. One way this can happen is when comparisons are made over time, such as comparing the productivity of a factor now with one 30 years ago. Quality is now much higher than it was then, but there is no simple way to incorporate quality improvements into productivity measurements. Use of the internet can lower the cost of a wide range of transactions, thereby increasing productivity. It is likely that this effect will continue to increase productivity in the foreseeable future. Next is the computer viruses. Computer viruses can have an immense negative impact on productivity, followed by the searching for the lost or misplaced items. Searching for the lost or misplaced items is a waste of time, hence negatively affecting productivity, followed by the scrap rates. Scrap rates have an adverse effect on productivity, signaling inefficient use of resources. New workers tend to have lower productivity than seasoned workers. Thus, growing companies may experience a productivity lag. Safety should be addressed. Accidents can take a toll on productivity. 9 is a shortage of technology savvy Workers hampers the ability of companies to update computing resources, generate and sustain growth, and take advantage of new opportunities. Next is layoffs. Layoffs often affect productivity. The effect can be positive or negative. Initially, productivity may increase after a layoff because the workload remains the same but fewer workers do the work, although they have to work harder and longer to do it. However, as the time goes by, the remaining workers may experience an increased risk of burnout, and they may fear additional job cuts. The most capable workers may decide to leave. Followed by labor turnover. Labor turnover, has a negative effect on productivity. Replacements need time to get up to speed. Next is the design of workspace. Can impact productivity. For example, having tools and other work items within easy reach can positively impact the productivity. Followed by incentive plans. Incentive plans that rewards productivity increase can boost productivity. Then, the equipment breakdowns and shortage. Lastly is the educational level and training of workers. Key step towards improving productivity. Develop productivity measures for all operations. B. Look at the system as a whole in deciding which operations are most crucial. B1. Make sure the result will be something customers want. B2. It is important to adopt a system viewpoint. C. Develop methods for achieving productivity improvements. And D. Establish reasonable goals for improvements. Then followed by the E, which is establish reasonable goals for improvement. Make it clear that management supports and encourages productivity improvement. For the F, measures improvement and publicize them. Note, don't confuse productivity with efficiency. Efficiency is a narrower concept that pertains to getting the most out of a fixed set of resources, while productivity is a broader concept that pertains to effective use of overall resources. Conclusion. Competition is a driving force in many organizations. It is a global game where every organization strives for competitive advantage. And in order to gain that advantage or edge, organization must have strategies relevant to its goals and mission, and must continuously improve its productivity. Reference is from Stevenson, WG 2001, that Operation Management, which is the 13th edition of McGraw-Hill. Thank you for listening. Any questions?